Thank you. And we are live. Hello. Start in a few minutes. Just sending an episode. We'll give a few minutes and we'll start. Got some big news, podcast wise and in general. News I did not expect to be talking about. I'm just going to put on Twitter. We'll go live. Okay. Stand up. Almost ready. Just gonna need a few more moments here. Once I'm ready, we will start. Just episode create. A few more seconds, we'll start. All right. Let's begin. Hello, everybody, and welcome back for episode 23 of Benny and the Booth podcast. On this week's episode, we've got NBA week, now to be weekly recap, previewing tonight's game, or going into what matchups are tonight. Big NFL news dropped, and maybe we get some baseball news today. Updates throughout the episode as I hear about it. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 23 of Benny in the Booth podcast, thank you so much for your support to this point. If you are not aware of the news, literally the day of after the recording of last week's episode, our guest from last week, Rami Levy, made it official. We have officially hit the 75 to 100 subscriber goal. We are actually one subscriber as of the recording of this video away from 80 subscribers already. As this channel's gained a few over the weekend. So if you are new and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a notification bell on so you get notified when I go live or post video. But thank you for helping get the goal. I am very excited to be able to get to do that reward at the end of this month, early next month. Very excited, and I cannot wait. It's going to be, I think, a bit different for a lot of people, especially that maybe don't play on the show. I think it's going to be very good, interesting, and a different reward. Before we get into this week's episode, I do want to put out something else. First of all, thank you for all the feedback anybody has given in the comments or to me privately about this podcast. I appreciate any feedback. And if you have, put it in the comments, put it in live chat. And also thank you for any feedback that you've given me about last week's guest, which thankfully I've heard all positive feedback about the guests I had in Rami Levy last week. I know last week was a longer episode. I was expecting it to be a longer episode because A, we were doing NFL year in review, and B, baseball literally, we didn't know baseball was going to be a topic to talk about live when we were the gist of it till literally last second. So yeah, and I know it could be annoying to watch through an hour plus episode of the podcast. Trust me, I know that's not fun. But at the end of the day, I think it went well. I think it did well. And if it's a good episode, then sometimes it can be worth that hour plus. Or almost 2 hours in that case scenario. But let me know what you thought about the guest. Did you like it? Do you want me to have him back? What other guests do you want me to have on the podcast? I'm open to any thoughts. So just let me know in the live chat, in the comments. I'm open to it. I'm open to any feedback. Please let me know. So anyways, I was going to start about NBA, but NFL popped up big this morning. This morning, well, I guess more of this afternoon. The Green Bay, after all the rumors came out that last year was going to be the last dance for Aaron Rodgers, and he's moving on. Instead, he goes, fudge that idea, and is going to be staying with the Green Bay Packers. As of right now, a 4-year, $200 million contract with, I think it was a $135 guaranteed. But apparently, per Pat McAfee, the contract details is not official. Apparently, they want to work on a more cap-friendly deal. But the fact that he's staying in Green Bay is just like a pow. Like, mind blown. I don't think anybody saw it coming. I'll even admit this, like, there's a Packers fan, and hopefully I can have him on the podcast at some point, who, like, I don't think even he was expecting Rodgers to come back. Like, it probably was like a mini thought, but I doubt he was expecting Rodgers to be back this year. But it's just crazy that he's staying in Green Bay. But I mean, hey, if it works for him, it works for him. Deal will most likely go until he's like 42 years old, I think, or something. But crazy news. And then and then there were some franchise tags. Mike Gesicki got franchise tagged. Chris Godwin's most likely going to be franchise tagged. The Browns franchise tagged David Njoku. Mike Williams got a contract extension. And then the big news that just dropped recently is that Russell Wilson is going to be traded to the Denver Broncos along with a 4th-round pick. And at first they told us it was going to be a big package, and we finally gotten the details of this deal. And the Seahawks are basically getting back in return Drew Lock, who could be their quarterback for next year. I don't know. We'll see. Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and a 5th-round pick. I don't know. what years any of those picks are, but that is. Sorry, I was just seeing something funny on Twitter. But yeah, so Wilson is getting traded to Denver. Big news, especially. I mean, it's not like, well, that's pretty good choice instead with Rodgers staying in Green Bay instead of going to Denver. When there was some rumors that he would maybe go to Denver, but instead he is staying with the Packers, and they go for Russell Wilson instead. The Seahawks got a lot in return, and they could really make good work with this, especially Fant, who's a pretty good tight end. We'll see what happens. But that's NFL news. MLB has a deadline today for to have a 162 game season still, and they would just make up the first two series at the end of the season. As of right now, they haven't said anything whether it's going to happen today or not officially. But if I hear anything, I will keep you guys posted. But as of right now, they are meeting today, or at least I think it was MLB proposed a deal. And the players have to accept it or deny it today before any further action can be taken. Whether it's we're going to have a season or start in like April, or it's going to be further delayed, and we'll see what happens as the day goes on. I will update as much as I can throughout this episode. So the NBA, basically how I figured to do this is I could try to muster up going through all the games and like giving a brief summary, but it's too hard with how many games go on per week. So how I'm gonna do it is like how I did the college football bowl games, as in, so I'm gonna go through all the teams and like the record from the time frame of between each episodes, and then what was the results within those records. So, for example, just a random example, let's say Dallas went 1-3 during the week. I have it in my notes, but it's just a random example. And they like beat X, Y, and Z, and I'm gonna go over that. And now, if there's some notes I remember from the game that I'm gonna note, then I will say in the episode when I go through the game. But I won't be going in depth in the games. I will just be saying their results and the team's record, and I will give a standings update each week, and then I'll give you the schedule for that night's games, which in this case will be Tuesday night, March 8th. Anyways, so to start off, we're going to start off with the East. The Bulls did not have a good week. Went 0-3, had a lead against Atlanta, blew it, lost to Atlanta 130-124. They lost to Milwaukee 118-112. Wacky game, just up, not much ups, down a lot of the game. And then literally yesterday, lost to Philly 121-106. And they just put a bit of a fight, but injuries are wrecking them right now. They're a bit injured, and they're just in a wreck of a situation. Cleveland this week went 0-3 as well. They had a loss versus Charlotte 119-98. Lost to Philly 125-119. Both those games were at home. And lost to Toronto at home 104-96. The Pistons went 3-1 in this time frame. They lost at the Wizards 116-113, won at Toronto 108-106, and won hosting the Pacers 111-106. Oh, and beat the Hawks at home 113-110 in overtime last night. The Pacers this week went 1-2, winning at Orlando 122-114 in overtime, losing at Detroit 111-106, losing at Washington, and losing at Washington 133-123. The Bucks this week went 3-0, winning at home versus Miami 120-119, winning at the Bulls 118-112. and hosting the Suns. I think it was like Saturday or Sunday, 132-122. The Celtics went 3-0 this week. Sorry about that. Just realized there was a bit of a mistake in my notes. Winning at home against the Hawks 107-98, winning at home against the Grizzlies 120-107, and winning at home against the Nets on Sunday 126-120. The Knicks, who recently have been having big leads and blowing it, this week or this time frame went 2-2. Started with losing at Philly 123-108, losing at home losing at the Suns 115-114, winning at the Clippers 116-93, and winning at the Kings. Were down 20, came back, and ended up winning by 20, 131-115. The Raptors in this time frame went 2-2, winning at home versus the Nets 109-108, losing at home against the Pistons 108-106, and losing at home against Orlando Magic 103-97, and winning at the Cavs 104-96. The Sixers went 3-1 this week, winning at home versus the Knicks 123-108, winning at Cleveland 125-119, losing at Miami 99-82, and last night beating the Bulls at home 121-106. The Wizards went 2-1 this week, winning at home against Detroit 116-113, losing at home against Atlanta 117-114, winning at home against Indiana 133-123. Atlanta went 2-2 this week, losing at Boston 107-98, winning at home against Chicago 130-124, winning at Washington 117-114, and losing at Detroit in overtime 113-110 and 113-110. The Heat went 3-1 this week, losing at Milwaukee 120-119, winning at Brooklyn 113-107, winning at home against the Sixers 199-82, and winning at home against the Rockets last night 123-106. The Magic went 2-1 this week, losing at home against Indiana 122-114 in overtime, winning at Toronto 103-97, and winning at Memphis 124-96. The Hornets went 2-0 this week, winning their games at Cleveland 119-98 and winning at home against San Antonio 123-117. That's it for the East. For the West, Utah went 2-2, winning at Houston 132-127 in overtime, losing at New Orleans 124-90, winning at the Thunder 116-103, and losing at Dallas 111-103. The Nuggets went 3-1 this week, losing at home versus OKC 119-107, winning at home against Houston 116-101, winning at home against New Orleans 138-130 in overtime, and winning at home against Golden State 131-124. Minnesota Timberwolves this week went 4-0, winning at home against Golden State 129-114, winning at OKC 138-101, winning at home against Portland Trailblazers 135-121, and winning at home against the Trailblazers 124-181. That was last night. Portland went 0-3, losing at Phoenix 120-90, losing at Minnesota 135-121, and then, as I just said before, losing at Minnesota 124-81. OKC this week went 1-2, winning at Denver 119-107, losing at home against Minnesota 138-101, and losing at home against the Jazz 116-103. Phoenix went 2-1 this week, winning at home against Portland 120-90, winning at home against the Knicks 115-114, and losing at Milwaukee 132-122. The Warriors went 0-4 this week, losing at Minnesota 129-114, losing at Dallas 122-113, losing at the Lakers 124-116, where LeBron had 56 points. Curry put up 30, but not enough for the Warriors, and losing at Denver 131-124. The Clippers went 2-1 this week, winning at Houston 113-110, winning at home against the Lakers 132-111, and losing at home against the Knicks after blowing. No, sorry, wrong game. And losing to the Knicks at home 116-93. The Lakers went 1-3 this week, losing at home versus Dallas 109-104, losing at the Clippers, which is technically the same arena, but the Clippers were the home team 132-111, winning at home versus Golden State, as I had just said before, 124-116, and losing at San Antonio last night 117-110. The Kings went 1-3 this week, losing at New Orleans 125-95, winning at San Antonio 115-112, losing at Dallas 114-113, and losing at home against the Knicks after blowing a 20-point lead, losing by 20 around 131-115. Memphis this week went 1-2, losing at Boston 120-107, winning versus Orlando 124-96, and losing at Houston 123-112. The Mavericks went 4-0 this week, winning at the Lakers 109-104, winning versus the Golden State Warriors 122-113, winning at home versus Sacramento 114-113, and winning at home against Utah 113-111. Hold on one second. That score seems off. Give me a minute. $111-103, not 113. 111-103 Mavericks over the Jazz, and that was last night. Actually, sorry, it seemed off, and it definitely was off. Not by much, but a bit off. The Pelicans went 2-1 this week, or in this time frame, winning at home against the Kings 125-95, winning at home against the Jazz 124-90, and losing at Denver 138-130 in overtime. The Spurs went 1-2 this time period, losing at home against the Kings 115-112, losing at Charlotte 123-117, and winning at home against the Lakers 117-110. And last but not least, the Rockets went 1-4 this week, losing to the Clippers at home 113-110, losing at home against the Jazz 132-127 in overtime, losing at Denver 116-101, winning at home against Memphis 123-112, and losing at Miami 123-106. And that is this time period's recap for every team. Now to give the standings. So in the East, Miami is your number one seed currently at 44-22 on a 3-game winning streak, followed by Philly, who's 40-24 on a 1-game winning streak. At the 2, number 3 is Milwaukee, 40-25 with a 4-game winning streak. 4 is the Bulls on a 5-game losing streak, which hopefully they bounce back in their next game against Detroit. Not tonight. I think it's like tomorrow or Thursday. 5th seed is a tie between the Celtics and the Cavs, both 39-27. The Celtics are on a 3-game winning streak. Cavs are on a 1-game winning streak. The Raptors are the 7th seed at 34-30 on a 3-game losing streak. And the 8th seed's a tie between the Hornets and the Nets at 32-33, with Hornets being on a 2-game winning streak and the Nets being on a 4-game losing streak. The Atlanta Hawks are the 10th spot with a 31-33 record on a 1-game losing streak. Those are all within the playoff teams, and 8 through 10 is the play-in game, or 7 through 10 is the play-in game spots. Obviously, play-in game doesn't really matter till really more towards the end of the season, but just to lay it out for people that maybe are not aware of how the playoffs work in the NBA. The 11th seed, right outside the playoffs, is the Wizards, 29-34 on a 1-game winning streak. The 12th seed is the Knicks, 27-38 on a 2-game winning streak. 13th seed is the Pacers, 22-44 on a 2-game losing streak. 14th seed is Pistons at 18-47 on a 3-game winning streak. And the 15th seed of the East is the Orlando Magic, 16-49 on a 1-game losing streak. That's all the teams in the East. So for the West, the 2 and 3 actually got swapped last night because of results. But with the swapping, number 1 seed is still the Phoenix Suns at 51-13 on a 1-game losing streak, however. Memphis is the 2 seed thanks to results from last night. Memphis winning, Golden State losing, or maybe it was just one or the other, but maybe it was just Warriors losing. Either way, they flipped before the Warriors lost. They were the 2 seed, now they're the 3 seed. But anyways, Memphis is the 2 seed at a 44-22 record on a 1-game losing streak. The Warriors are the 3 seed with a 43-22 record on a 5-game losing streak. The Jazz are 40-23 at the 4 spot with a 1-game winning streak. The Mavericks are in the 5th seed at a 39-25 record on a 4-game win streak. The Nuggets are the 6th seed at 38-26 on a 2-game win streak. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the 7th seed at a 36-29 record on a 4-game win streak. The Clippers are your 8th seed of the West at a 34-32 record on a 1-game losing streak. The 9th seed, the Lakers, on a 1-game winning streak with a 28-35 record. The Pelicans are the 10th seed with a 27-37 record on a 1-game losing streak. That is for all the playoff spots in the West. Below that, the Trailblazers are the 11th seed at 25-38 record on a 4-game losing streak. Sorry about that. The Kings are the 12th spot with 20, or not Kings, the Spurs, with the 24-40 record on a 4-game losing streak. The 13th spot is the Kings on a 24-43 record with a 2-game losing streak. The 14th seed is the Thunder, 20-44 on a 2-game losing streak, and the 15th seed is the Houston Rockets, 16-49 on a 1-game losing streak. That is the West standings. And that is the updated standings as of before tonight's games. Tonight's games, the 7 o'clock games, are Brooklyn at Charlotte, Cleveland at Indiana, Phoenix at Orlando. 7:30, you have New Orleans Pelicans visiting the Memphis Grizzlies. At 8, you have the Milwaukee Bucks at Oklahoma City Thunder. And at 10, you have the Clippers at the Golden State Warriors. That is the NBA schedule, and that is the NBA weekly recap, which will now be a weekly thing since it's the biggest sport to really cover right now. But NFL free agency moves are going to start to happen because I think officially can really happen this coming Tuesday, I think, or something. But either way, before we wrap up, let's see. Just seeing if there's any updates on baseball before we go. Oh, wow. Aaron Rodgers just came out 15 minutes ago saying, hey, on his Twitter account, official Twitter account, hey, everyone, just wanted to clear some things up. Yes, in bold letters, all bold letters, I will be playing with the Packers next year. However, reports about me signing a contract are inaccurate, as are the supposed terms of the contract I signed. I'm very excited to be back. Hashtag with the showing muscle emoji. Hashtag year 18. Hashtag with a heart emoji. Just thought I did see that on Twitter, so I just thought I would mention that on the podcast while I saw that. Let's see. As of right now, not seeing anything. I'm going to check the official Twitter accounts and check for baseball news. Oh yeah, MLB also made a new TV partner deal with Apple for Apple TV Plus to carry Friday night baseball doubleheader starting this season. Games will be exclusively broadcast on the streaming service. But I am not seeing any updates. I'm gonna check one more account. Yeah, I'm not seeing any updates. So as of right now, there's no updates. The deadline is today, so we'll see if anything does happen. Um, but that is the story with everything, and that's this week's episode of the podcast. So let's wrap things up. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming back for this week's episode of Benny and the Booth podcast. On next week's episode, I'll give the update on baseball. Did they agree on something today? Or is there going to be more games taken out? We'll give an NBA update and maybe some more NFL news updates. Maybe we'll get Aaron Rodgers' contract details official by next week's episode. Thank you for watching. Hold on 1 second. No, never mind. Thank you for watching this week's episode of the podcast. Subscribe if you are new. Help us get to 80 subscribers and, well, even beyond as well. Hit the notification bell on so you're notified when I go live and post a video. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye.